Russia says it's thwarted what it claims was a Ukrainian drone attack that damaged at least 2 buildings in Moscow.
Spain's Conservative People's Party wins the snap election, but falls short of the numbers needed to form a coalition in Parliament, a result that could work in Premier Pedro Sanchez's favour.
Thousands of people are fleeing the Greek island of Rhodes as wildfires continue to tear through the popular tourist destination.
And Formula One's Max Verstappen has muscled out Lewis Hamilton in the Hungarian Grand Prix on Sunday to continue his dominant season.
Police deployed around a cordoned-off area in Moscow. Russia has accused Ukraine of a drone attack in the early hours of Monday morning that damaged at least 2 buildings in the capital. Defense Ministry officials say 2 drones were shot down, adding that there were no casualties. Moscow also says it shot down 11 Ukrainian drones in the annexed Crimean Peninsula. Russian-installed officials say residents were forced to evacuate one district after an ammunition depot was hit in the northern Jankoy area. Tensions have been running high in the region since last week's attack on the strategic Kerch Bridge, which links the peninsula to mainland Russia. Since then, the Ukrainian city of Odessa has suffered nightly missile attacks. Both reported incidents come a day after Kyiv vowed retaliation for a Russian strike that partly destroyed an historic cathedral in the port city. The United Nations has strongly condemned Russian missile strikes on the historic Orthodox Church in the center of Odessa. Founded in 1794, the cathedral is part of a UNESCO World Heritage Site. Kyiv has accused Russia of destroying it as part of a campaign to systematically harm the Orthodox Church in the country. Ukraine's foreign ministry described the destruction as a war crime that will never be forgiven or forgotten.
Собор очень сильно поврежден внутри. Вы видите, что все убранство просто практически уничтожено. Осталась только целая колокольня. Все остальное нужно восстанавливать.
Dozens of buildings in the area have also been damaged or destroyed. Russia has stepped up attacks on the port city since it withdrew from the UN-brokered grain deal on Monday. Ukraine has accused Moscow of targeting port infrastructure vital to the deal. In a tweet, Ukraine's President Volodymyr Zelensky called for more air defense systems, saying it was the only way to defeat what he described as Russian missile terror. Moscow has denied that the cathedral was the intended target of strikes in Odessa and suggests it was more likely a Ukrainian anti-aircraft missile that caused the damage.
Is Spain heading for political deadlock? After a neck-and-neck race, the Conservative People's Party won the most votes after Sunday's snap election. However, with 136 seats, Alberto Núñez Feijóo's party has fallen short of most poll predictions. PP was expected to form a coalition with the far-right Vox party, which secured 33 seats, just 7 short of the 176 needed to form a majority in Parliament. If Prime Minister Pedro Sanchez combines forces with the left bloc, he could secure a total of 172 seats, and Alliance Feijóo warns could produce weeks of political jockeying.
Le pido al Partido Socialista expresamente y al resto de las fuerzas políticas que no bloqueen el gobierno de España una vez más. No hay ningún presidente del gobierno de España que haya gobernado después de perder las elecciones.
The People's Party garnered support in the regional and local elections on the 28th of May, prompting Sanchez to call the snap election. The 51-year-old had hoped that the prospect of a right-wing government would help mobilise left-wing voters, a gamble that may have worked in his favour.
Gracias a toda España, porque hemos demostrado al mundo que somos una democracia fuerte, una democracia limpia, una gran democracia. Aquellos que planteaban el machismo, el retroceso en derechos y en libertades han fracasado en el día de hoy y el bloque involucionista del Partido Popular con Vox han salido derrotados.
A PP-Vox government would have resulted in another EU member state swinging to the right, a trend recently seen in Sweden, Finland and Italy. However, the leftist Sumar alliance secured 31 seats, making this less likely. Despite soaring temperatures, voter turnout was 70%. A record 2.5 million voters also cast their ballots by post.
Thousands of tourists are attempting to leave the Greek island of Rhodes as wildfires continue to rage. Firefighters said they were dealing with 46 new blazes over the past 24 hours. Some tourists spent the night in the airport, bedding down on the terminal floor. According to the authorities, more than 19,000 people have had to flee the fires burning across the popular destination following weeks of soaring temperatures. Airport staff are doing their best to cope.
They brought us to the airport, they got us food and drinks yesterday, really taking care of us, they were.
The little kids were afraid, you know, it was chaos and you see the fire and the smoke, and it was very terrifying for all of us.
Many tourists were forced to leave their hotels in a hurry, but were not sure what would happen next.
I looked up at the ridge, up at Lardos, and I saw flames. And I thought, oh my word, it's getting closer. A police guy came up with the lights flashing and shouted at our hotel owner, get everybody out.
But we couldn't come to the hotel because the police has said it's not possible. Yeah, but anyway, we managed somehow to get there, to pack our luggage and wait on the beach until someone comes.
Some have already made it back home. These tourists took a plane on Sunday and landed at Vienna airport. All were relieved to be safe.
Wir haben nur das Wichtigste genommen, unser ganzes Hotel ist abgebrannt. Also wir sind einfach nur mehr froh, dass wir heimkommen.
An evacuation order has now also been issued for parts of Corfu after a wildfire broke out in the northern part of the island on Sunday afternoon.
Rescue teams have spent the night searching through rubble after a bridge collapsed in southwestern Greece. A group of people were underneath it at the time, sheltering from the heat. So far, 1 person is known to have died and 8 others wounded. The bridge, located in the Proastio area near the port city of Patras, had been closed for renovation work. The reason for the collapse is not immediately clear.
Thousands of Israeli protesters have ended their 4-day march from Tel Aviv to Jerusalem in a mass mobilization to oppose the government's justice system changes. Many are now camped in a park near the country's parliament. A final vote on the bill is due to take place on Monday. There have been months of protests in Israel over the reforms which seek to limit the Supreme Court's powers. Critics of the proposed changes say the Supreme Court is the only channel through which to scrutinise the government's use of power and prevent abuse by the state.
A high-profile Egyptian activist recently released from prison has landed in Italy, where the government has championed his case. Patrick George Zaki was greeted by applause when he landed at Milan airport. Zaki was pardoned last week, just days after an Egyptian court convicted him of dismantling fake news in an article about alleged discrimination against Coptic Christians in Egypt. 5 others have also been pardoned.
Thank you.
Fewer trucks and more trains. An appealing idea, and yet, since its announcement about 30 years ago, the high-speed Lyon-Turin rail link involving the excavation of what will be the world's longest rail tunnel at over 57 kilometres has been a subject of division.
L'urgence climatique, c'est qu'il y a 3 millions de poids lourds qui passent chaque année sur la route entre la France et l'Italie. Si vous ne faites pas de tunnel, vous gardez les camions sur les routes.
However, for the project's detractors, the environmental damage far outweighs the benefits.
Sede di valutazione è stato anche calcolato per costruire tutta la terminale Lione c'è un contributo netto di anidride carbonica in atmosfera di 10 milioni di tonnellate. Le stime che ci sono nel progetto parlano di quantità di acqua dell'ordine di 600.000 litri al secondo che potrebbero uscire dalla galleria a causa della realizzazione di questi lavori. È un po' come se circa una bella fetta di Torino oppure un bel pezzo di Lione rischiassero di far venire meno il loro fabbisogno idrico.
Aujourd'hui, ce drainage il représente 1% du débit de la rivière Larc par rapport à tous les bienfaits écologiques que je viens d'évoquer, c'est-à-dire le report modal des camions sur les routes, moins d'accidents routiers, moins d'usure des infrastructures, la fiabilité des échanges, le rapprochement des peuples et des territoires. On peut considérer que c'est un investissement qu'on peut faire.
There is already a railway line connecting Lyon to Turin. Perched in the mountains, it allows around 50 trains to pass through the Fréjus tunnel each day, but that's many fewer than what the project foresees for the new tunnel. However, opponents claim that the existing link is underused.
Ce qui est certain, c'est que oui, aujourd'hui, par la ligne déjà actuellement en place, sans besoin de créer de tunnel, on pourrait passer ce dont on a besoin.
In both Italy and France, issues related to the massive construction project fuel opposition.
La vie quotidienne en fait des petits villages qui sont traversés par les camions de transport de déchets ou de marchandises sont évidemment bouleversés. Aujourd'hui, ce n'est que en fait des travaux, des déchets, et il y a véritablement un gaspillage monstrueux des paysages qui permettaient la vie.
Formula One champion Max Verstappen stamped his authority on the Hungarian Grand Prix to win his 7th straight race of a crushingly dominant season. Lewis Hamilton started from pole position ahead of Verstappen, who muscled him out at the first corner and never looked back. His 9th victory overall means the 25-year-old Dutchman already leads his Red Bull teammate Sergio Perez by 110 points. Red Bull's 12th straight win broke McLaren's record for consecutive team wins set in 1988.